to
Well, you
go on
can watch it
YouTube and see. And then we'll see how the view is. There it is.
It's big enough to load on my iPad.
Okay, now let's see. Live. Okay, you're live and it's got sound and everything.
I'm live right now, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
Oops.
My name is Betty Calkins. What are you
Volume
doing?
down.
Kelly's helping me. I'm her mother. I'm Kelly Snow's mother.
Where's
And
your
I
volume?
just recently moved in with her. And she sent me up to do a video so I can show my journal here. That
You have to
is
turn the volume down.
that is for sale. Now, what are you saying?
You have to turn the volume down before you start.
I don't know.
You don't know how to do the volume on your computer?
Yeah, my computer, yeah, right here. See how I am? I don't know how to do stuff, and Kelly's trying to teach me. This is volume. You want me to turn it up?
Oh, no, you want to turn it down so you don't have this background noise.
Oh, I see.
There
Okay.
you go.
Oh, I usually turn it down here. Okay. I usually turn it down here. That's where I usually do
Okay, well, I don't know.
it. Okay.
There you go.
Sorry. I'm just trying to get set up. I'm just learning how to do this.
There.
Okay. So, this journal measures 8.5 by 11, so it's a big one. It's this is an 8.5 by 11 piece of printer paper, and this is, you know, the typical size that a lot of people make their journals. So I'm showing you as a reference as to how much bigger this journal is than just the average journal. So it's really a big journal. There's 2 signatures with a hidden spine. And I got the cover and I got the 2 signatures here. And then this is the back. Okay. And I have the closure that I made with muslin, copy dyed muslin, sewed around, stamped. Like that. So this is the closure. This is the way it looks from the outside, so you can see the pages, you know, and the dangles hanging down, and the beads, and little tassels and things. This is the top. And then the bottom, I leave it flat, so that if the recipient of the journal were to put it on a shelf like this, everything is laying on the shelf and it's sturdy and provides, it's actually good for the spine. It protects the spine when if you set the journal up like this, because this is a heavy journal. It contains a lot of metal and embellishments and things. So I like to protect the spine, therefore I allow this. I put all the pages down here so that when it sits on a shelf, it's taking away stress from the spine. So let me see now if I'm centered. So I started out with a flat pen. Has a little tassel on it, high-heeled shoe there. This says Hamlet on the back. I've got a tag here that has a railroad. Tried to make it look like a railroad track. This is the railroaders. I made a tab here. I actually took a calculator apart and took out the numbers, and I've made little tabs. There's a few here. There's another one here. I'll show you as we go, but I made tabs using calculator parts. And then this is all handmade. There's a dangle right here, if you can see it. And this is handmade, and there's a little clock and a key. This says go as far as you can. There's a tag here, a tag here. Pretty image of a vintage lady. Everything is sewn around. Everything is inked. I sew around everything. And as you can see, there's sewing all around all these pages. Everything has got every page. Then I made a little little tassel here. There's a little key tag and a little charm, a key charm. And then this is a magnetic closure here. It opens up. And then there's a metal piece here for the magnet to work. Little tab down at the bottom here that I can use to open this up. And I think I'm in frame. Yeah, okay. So this is a side tuck, a corner tuck, and a little piece of pretty paper. It's upside down with lines on the back and a little umbrella stamp, another little tag, all copy dyed and sewed around. Then there's something I want the potential customer to be aware of is some of the papers within this journal. These are somewhat historical documents. Well, they are historical documents that connect Cornell University, the North Fork and Western Railroad Company, and a lumber yard. And I've got all these papers. They're dated 1905 to 1914, I think it is, or 1919, I'm not sure. But I looked these up online. I did some research on them. And at the Cornell University in 1906, there was established a fraternity, Alpha Pi Alpha fraternity, established in 1906. It was the first intercollegial fraternity for African American men. And I thought that this might be, it's not only memorabilia, but it might be a historical documents that might be, wanted by somebody. I don't really know, but I looked it up, and this page here is worth $15, the value, when you look it up online. And so I'm just thinking somebody might be interested in it, but I just want to let you know that this, to me, is not junk. It's valuable memorabilia from the past connecting Cornell University. I think the Cornell University was building, and the railroad company and the lumber yard were in business hauling the lumber to Cornell University, and they were building this fraternity, perhaps. I really don't know, but you can do your own research and figure out the details, because this journal is filled with a bunch of papers from this particular transaction and connection between these people, okay? And then there's a tag here, a little booklet just for a journaling spot, and it's got a high-heeled shoe stamp in it. This is a little vintage envelope, opens up, and there's a couple pieces of vintage pieces, and there's a lady there, a vintage lady. And then here again is the Northwestern Railroad image, and it opens up for another journaling spot. And then another tag. And then this closes, magnetic closure. Got a page from this particular book right here is what inspired me and where I got a lot of the elements for this journal from this book. And this is actually a tie clip right here attached. And it makes a good tuck spot because you can use it. You can use it to tuck things in right there too. Makes a good tuck spot, that tie clip. So I put it on that page as not only an embellishment, but a nice tuck spot. There's a little tag in here. This is writing from a page from that book the train railroad book. And then beautiful images here. You can write on that if you want to. This is some coffee dyed papers. Kelly Snow has an Etsy store, as a lot of you might know. And she has an array of different coffee dyed papers, laces, and different fabrics and linens, and handmade items too, as well, for journals. She's just, and signature pages and everything, so she's got in there. So that came from her stash, from Kelly's stash. Then I've got a tag that's just under this paper clip, and it's just got a little vintage lady attached with a little tuck spot right there. This is a page from that railroad book that inspired me. So a pocket here. This has got a wallpaper tag and a little image of a little girl. Vintage images. Lace along the edges of the page. I just want to mention too that if you're interested in purchasing this journal, the link is in the description, okay? Because you'll be going to Kelly's Etsy store in order to make the purchase, okay? Nice journaling spot. I put lines on it and grunged it up. Here's a parchment paper page, and inside there I found this large image dated 1868, and this is an image of a Monet painting, and I liked that image, so I stuck it in because it's a vintage 1800s image. Yeah, this journal is 1800s ephemera in pieces, except for I got 1900 papers in it, but 1906. But anyway, so I embellished this with this little golden piece, and then this again is another Monet painting. You can see Monet's signature right here at the bottom, and he, painted a railroad track in the train in that image. I liked that. It says the railroad populated the West and knitting the Atlantic and the Pacific together. And then the back has also got, I hand draw these lines, everything sewn around. There's Monet down there again. So then I stuck that image in there. And there's lace trim along the top there, just so you know. Here again is some more of those papers that come from the Advanced Lumber Company. And there's a few of these here. Dated 1903, this one is. This one's dated 1903. And this is the lumber company's correspondence with the railroad and Cornell people, because, well, there's signatures here that tie everything together. All these papers have these certain signatures on them, so it ties them. They're all tied together somehow. And I didn't do enough research to know exactly what's going on with these papers, but I did enough to let you know that somehow Cornell University Lumber Company and the railroad companies were in cahoots. And somehow they did the transaction. And I just think that it's going to be something that somebody would be interested in, maybe, Historical value to some people. This one's dated 1914. Northern and Western Railroad Company. Now, these are real documents, and they're not printouts. I didn't print them. This is the actual documents. So, and then I got rusty paper clips all over, little bits of ephemera, related ephemera. And then underneath here is a journaling page. Some lace trim, turquoise beads, pretty pages, another page from the railroad book, and I clipped an image of a vintage lady on here, and she's clipped with a rusty paper clip. All the pages are sewn around, note that. And then there's some maps showing where the railroad tracks were placed, and then just a plain sheet of paper for journaling on. This says antiques right here, just a piece of fabric, and behind there I have a vintage lady. And these could be journaling spots, and this flips out. I'm going to move some of the stuff. This flips out, so there's a journaling spot here, and then I made a belly band across this page from the book. Pretty image of a rose. and then journaling spots with stamping on. This here envelope is got a rusty paper clip with some fabric attached to it, and then it opens up. This envelope was lined and sewed around. You know, I ripped them apart and then I sew around them all and line them. Well, this one was lined with parchment paper or vellum. And then inside is a little handkerchief that I thought was cute. And I'm taking it apart and showing it to you so you know that there's no stains, no rips. Everything is intact and it's in very good shape. And it's a beautiful little handkerchief. So I love that handkerchief. I've been saving it in my stash for quite some time and decided to put it in this journal. So there it is. Pretty. And then, so then I put the paper clip back on just to kind of hold that there. And then another image for that from the train book. And more images, another writing spot. An image from the train book. This is some of my handmade washi tape. And then this opens up, and then there's a writing spot, and then an image here of people waiting at the railroad station. And then here I made this little thing. It's actually, this is the closure so that these don't flip. So this one flips, and this one flips. And inside these are photographs where the recipient of the journal could put their own photographs in, but I've got these vintage looking photographs that Kelly has tutorials on how to do this. It's made with aluminum foil. Somehow she did that. I haven't looked at the video, but they look really vintage looking. I'm going to try and hold it up. I'm not used to this particular camera. Kelly set me up with this camera. Anyway, they're really pretty images. And I don't know how to use this camera very good. So that goes in there. And then this one as well. Another vintage image. And I made the little tuck spots for it and stuff. And then here is a little label, and you could put your own image in there and put a name. You know, mom, sister, dad, Uncle Charlie, whoever it might be. You know, if you wanted to put your own images in. And then there's the Eiffel Tower, and there's the closure right there. And then this is a journaling spot here. In here, I just tucked in a couple pieces of ephemera and the tags. This one actually opens up. This one here opens up, and there's just a little journaling spot inside to write some special little memory or note or poem or whatever you wanted to do with it. This here is a tuck spot, and this here is a tuck spot. I call this my crooked page because I actually put the paper in crooked and then fold down the corners. That's the way I do it. So, and then here again, you see I folded down the corner of my crooked page that I had. And then here's a piece of paper just for journaling stuck in there. And I should put a rusty paper clip on there instead of that one. I don't know why that's there. I'm going to do it right now while you guys are watching. There's a rusty paper clip I got. So I'm going to put that there instead. And then just a crooked page that you could journal on. And then a piece of parchment paper. And then a big, large pocket. And I stuck this page from the railroad book. And then on the back is what I liked was the image, old-fashioned image of the guys working on a railroad or standing there. I like that image, so I left it on the back. You could use this as writing spot and some flowers there. Pretty lace and a dangle charm. And then this is a car in a fancy train compartment. And it's got beautiful upholstered furniture and different things you can see. An image of the fancy lady that's going to go sit down. And then another piece of paper that's just for journaling. It says notes. journaling spot here. And then another lace on the edges. Another page from the book, and I glued a train right there. I thought it looked good. And then I have an image of a vintage lady right there. And I just clipped it underneath this piece of, this little bit of rusty paper clip. So that looks good. You can write all over that if you want to, and you can write on here. And then this is a tracing paper page in which I've got little bits of tags and ephemera pieces. And then this is the writing spot for the back of this image of this train. And I like this image, so I have it sitting there like that. Okay, this here looks like leather, but it's actually fabric, as you can see. Right here, let's see. Yeah, well, it's just fabric. You can see it's fabric. But the other side of it looks like leather. So that is what I put on the same leather is right here on the spine. And then as you can see, I took the parts for that from that calculator and made another little tab with it. And then another little image of a vintage woman, another piece from that railroad book, and then I made this floating pocket. And this is a metal piece that I put a little clock inside. This is the wallpaper tag that is inside there. And it goes in there. And then I like to tuck it in there, and then I like to tuck it under there so it stays put. And then this also is a metal piece. It's actually the same metal piece as this, but I cut it in a certain way. I had to work at these. This one I had to hammer out so it laid flat, and those little wrinkles around there, that's wrinkles in the metal. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if I should put it up forward or if you're getting it, you know, I can't tell till it comes up on my, there, goes there. Yeah. So anyway, that's a metal piece I had to smash and bend and get it to lay flat, you know, and this is the same one, but I cut it, this one. So anyway, I've got a little golden tag here tucked under it. This little metal piece I folded over the edge. See the round circle? And I folded it, and then I glued it down, and I put this golden tag underneath it, and a little piece of ephemera. It's actually looks like a page taken out of a dictionary with a train image at the top there. So, and then there's a nice journaling spot back here. This page here is, this is a journaling spot, and then I made this tag, oval frame, and this pretty little dangle here, and ribbons and stuff off the back. And the back of this has got a journaling spot, so it's a big journaling spot. And then this page here has a little pocket there with related ephemera in it. Well, actually, this is fruit, but I like the color of the turquoise because I went turquoise, browns, and, you know, paper, coffee dyed paper colors. And so that was turquoise, so that's why I put it in. There's a little butterfly charming and off of here. This is a piece of fabric that I sewed lines on. I also put 2 layers of gesso, clear gesso and white gesso on there so that it can be written upon. And then here's another one of those fabrics that look like leather tag, and on the back, this is the journaling spot, embellishments at the top. This one says, she dreams of faraway places and daring adventures. And there's a little pocket there, and all the way across, actually. And then this is some more of the papers that are, this is original writing. I don't know. And then this one here has the initials AGFA. I looked up what that was, and but I forget now. It might be that fraternity. But anyway, uh, this is dated 1913, I think it is, and it's more correspondence between the railroad, the lumber company, and Cornell University. So, and then there's two of the sheets here. Here's another one. This one's dated 1917. So the correspondence between these people went on for some years from 1903. I see, I found a paper that said 1903 on it, to, I think it was 1919, I think was the latest one. So they did correspondence and transactions for years, that relationship. So here's another page from that book. Little vintage lady who's there with, tucked underneath the paper clip with a dangle right there, turquoise dangle. And then underneath here is a vintage lady and a ticket underneath there with a journaling spot right here. Lots of stamping and stenciling and grungy pages and stuff. Okay, this is actually this folded piece here. It actually flips up. Is a piece that you can purchase in Kelly's Etsy store. This piece here, it's a page that's cut in half or folded in half, and then she embellished it with lace and stuff. This lace, Kelly did that, and she put on this piece. This is a glassine bag that was folded and made into a pocket. So I put a couple pieces of ephemera. I slapped a little piece of paper on there, put that little car on there. And then this flips up, and then in here is also a little pocket with a tag with one of those fabrics that look like leather. And then there's a journaling spot here, and then this kind of flips down. It's kind of a secret pocket right there, you would think, you know. And so, and then this opens, and then under in here is a piece of paper to write on, grungy. You know how I did this right here? I sewed around the paper, and then I ripped it off. And this is what I got. I loved that, don't you? So anyway, that's what I did there. And I did put this here trim on right here. I put that on as a little tuck spot for that piece of paper. So this is all a journaling spot here. And then this flips again for another journaling spot. And then there's a little tassel hanging there, a charm. Excuse me, having problems with my throat. So, and then I put the paper clip there just to keep that stuck to the page so it doesn't flip and flop around when you turn the page. So I put a little paper clip on it right there. Then a pretty page here. This is a large tuck spot right here. And here is the writing spot. And then here is the image from Monet of a train station. So I decided to put that in. I like Monet, see? So I put that in. And then I put it in upside down because I love that stamp. I got that stamp from Kelly's stash. Living with her has been fun because we got plans and we do things, and she helps me a lot. I'm 75 years old, and I need some help, especially when it comes to computer work and stuff. I don't know how to do it very good. So she helps me do it, you know. Here's a little card tucked in. Behind this is another tie clip, and I put it on and use it as a tuck spot. And then an envelope, and inside is just a pretty little rose piece of ephemera, a writing spot. And then this is a pocket, and then there's a pretty little image here for writing on, and here's the journaling spot, and the lines are on crooked so that you can just write this way. And a little stamp there with an umbrella, and I just put that in there. Lots of layering here, all kinds of paper around and sewing and all kinds of stuff. I do a lot of work on my pages. This is an image of a garden party in the 1800s, and they're outside listening to music, playing croquet and stuff. And then there's a little image tucked right here of the Eiffel Tower. And then there's a tag here. pretty little tag, and I put a little piece of fabric lace on there. And this is the back of it, and it's tucked again behind. All the paper clips are rusty paper clips. I wanted this to look vintage. And then this, well, there's a little, just a very little tassel here, a little dangle. And then this is just to show that they're trying to promote their companies. The train stations were trying to, in the 1800s, promote their business of riding in the train going from place to place. And this was an image of one of the brochures that they had put out, and it talked about how they can travel to all kinds of different lands, that Alice's Adventures in the New Wonder World they were talking about. This was the Yellowstone National Park, but they were trying to talk, and this is a little story inside about how the train companies promoted, by using these brochures, promoted the rides and the traveling on the train. And this said that the North Pacific boasted its routes traversing across a land as wondrous as that of Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland in 1885. So it just goes to show, this was just a reminder that they used to promote their products just like we do nowadays. They try and have brochures and stuff trying to sell their product. Pretty image. Writing spot, parchment paper. Here's an image of a woman waiting for a train, she looks like to me. Little piece of ephemera with some more promotional ephemera there. And then an image of a train. And then here is another image of a train. And I see I forgot to sew around this one. So I should sew around it. So I'll have to remember to do that. So there's an image of a train there. I'll sew around that one and ink around it too. And then another pretty image. This is a painted and embellished with some bling and bobby pin that I use for a paper clip. The reason I do that is because paper clips actually stick to all the threads, and a bobby pin does not. So it serves the same purpose as a paper clip, except for it doesn't stick to all my threads. Inside this here particular envelope, as you can see, I took it apart as well, inked around all the edges, and I lined it with lace. There's white lace in there. And then this is the image of that's inside. And then the back has got a little umbrella and a journaling spot. So, and then I'm just going to put that in there. There. Nice journaling spot here. This says handwritten letter, that little label there. And then this is kind of a masculine page, but it's the railroaders, were men, of course. And then, so there's an image here with some words out of the book that I thought were interesting. And then this is another piece right here. This is opens up, but this here piece comes from the calculator, the insides of the calculator. Image of the train opens up, and then this is just a writing spot throughout all this, but I attached under that paper clip just a piece of ephemera and a little image here of a train, on the railroad thing there. So that goes in there. And then this here particular image of this train is not attached. I decided to let the recipient of this journal do with it what they want, because I was going to make a tuck spot here and put it underneath, but I sometimes just like to leave it so that the recipient of the journal can just do what they want with the pages. So, do what they want. So anyway, and then Lincoln was instrumental in the Railroad Act, the Pacific Railroad Act of 1862. He was in the midst of the Civil War, and he ended the debate of the railroads by enacting and signing the document about the Pacific Railroad Act of 1862. So that, and then somewhere, I'm not sure where, a gold spike was used in a ceremonial celebration of the final railroad track that they put in someplace. You'd have to look it up. I don't know. But this is actually a gold spike that they put into the ground in the railroad, and it has a prayer on it. And they stuck it in the ground, and it was a ceremony that they did. And I just thought that was interesting, so I put that in there too. Did you want something?
I'm just worried my phone's gonna die.
Oh, well then I'll hurry. And then we got.
Oh, okay.
Then we got. Yeah, I'm almost done. So, and then we got a journaling spot, another page, and then this guy, he's seriously looking at his work, and this has got some embellishments there. Here's another piece of the coming out of the calculator, the plus sign, because I see he looks like he's calculating stuff. So I put the plus sign there, and then I imagine this to be his wife. She looks real serious, and she's got him working, and that's her. And then a journaling spot. I got it tucked behind this paper clip. Yeah, Kelly says I might run out of the battery off her phone, so I'm going to kind of hurry a little bit. And then some more journaling pages, another pretty journaling spot with that stamp on the back of it. And then this. Then this is pretty, I think. I like this these embellishments here and this one here. I made this one. And then this, and this is pretty. This is a crooked page, you see. I had to fold over the corner. And then, again, one of those images that Kelly has a tutorial on our YouTube channel, how to do this. But these are really pretty, and they look really vintage, don't they? You know? So that's tucked in there. And then here again are two more sheets of paper. This one's dated 1914. There's those initials, AGFA, a transaction and correspondence between Northern Western Railroad Company and AGFA, whoever that is. So there's two more pieces of documents there. So there's a lot of documents about that. So I just thought I'd bring that to your attention. Here's an image, a journaling spot, another image of a train. It's kind of shiny, but it's a nice image of a train. And then here is the back of it. And then here's a pretty image. This here lady is just paper clipped to the page, and she's got a journaling spot on the back of her. Maybe you want to see it a little bit closer. And then I'm trying to hurry a little bit. Another piece of a journaling card just attached to the page. These images and journaling spots here, this one here, it's just attached to the page. It's not glued down. Again, so the recipient can move things about and do what she wants with the journal. Here's the last page. I made this. It's a tag and a little picture frame on it, you see. And then this opens up. I left it open. I didn't glue it shut. I left it open so that the recipient of the journal can get in there easily. And there's an assortment of tags and journaling cards and a little image of a family. And there, I lined this envelope with brown paper. It's actually some kind of tracing paper or some kind of paper anyway. Then this here has got, I got a journaling card made out of a wallpaper, and then 3 more sheets of the transaction and correspondence between whoever this is now. There's the AGFA initials again. This is dated February of 1906. Some more correspondence. There's 3 more of those here, and somehow they're all connected, so you should be aware of that. And then the last bit is this here thing. It's the little wallet that holds the identification and or passport, and it comes out of this belly band, and there's brads in there, a little piece there that matches this piece. And then this is a little spot for important tickets and memorabilia and stuff for a traveler, and the name and address and stuff go there. Little key tag and some beads hanging off the edge. This opens up, and inside here is a little pocket with a railroad ticket that's been punched out and everything already. And there's a little tag there. Then there's a place here for money, and there's the passport. Kelly made that passport. And I don't know if she's got a tutorial on that, but she has a YouTube channel where she does all kinds of tutorials. So, and then the back just looks used and worn. Okay, and then that just slips right in here. So, there. So that's that, you guys. So thank you for watching if you did. And then just message Kelly. This journal is listed in her Etsy store if you're interested. Okay? So thank you very much. And I don't know if I'll be doing any more YouTube videos. But Kelly, how do I stop this now? I don't know how to stop it. I gotta get Kelly to do it.
I'll come.
Okay. So here she comes. She's gonna stop it for me.